Hello, everyone, and welcome to MGT 14, Booth University online class Catalyzing Action in Complex Systems. My name is Sera Thompson, and I'm very excited to be your guide and facilitator over the next 6 weeks that we're together. This course is really about introducing you to complex societal systems issues and giving you some lenses and tools to make sense of those and how they apply to your work. So those include things like systems mapping, polarity analysis, and strategy formulation. And hopefully it's going to be really hands-on and applicable. Over the 6 weeks, we're going to kind of travel through almost three phases. One is really understanding the moment that we are in history, understanding this kind of massive disruption and the forces that are influencing us as a society right now, and making sense of the movements that are arising and how we can be in relationship to those movements or in response to those movements. Weeks 3 and 4 are really going to be about the map making and the sense making, being able to understand the actors and the dynamics and where there's leverage points for making change and advancing our agendas within these complex systems. And the final 2 weeks is going to be looking at the emergence of difference, polarization, and conflict, and how these things are inevitably part of society, but how we work with them and potentially transform them where possible. We're talking about the big system of society, but all of the things that we're going to be learning are going to be applicable to the smaller systems that you're part of, your communities, organizations, teams, and even families, and even yourself. So I am particularly excited to be with you on this journey. This is a real this world of complex systems and working on societal issues is very close to my heart. I'm based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I run a small consulting company called New Leaf Social Innovation that focuses primarily on kind of trying to create shifts in multi-stakeholder issues, looking at social issues that are beyond any one organization. And I practice a lot of the large group methodologies that we'll be introducing in the course that are sort of aimed at bringing society into a room together to have a conversation or a microcosm of society. So in terms of the practicalities, I think you're all aware of and have kind of committed to the course agreements, but I want to just remind you and summarize that there's a real intention that we share airtime, that we notice how much space we take up, and that we kind of push ourselves if we're hanging back, and that we hold ourselves back if we're really taking over, that we're really present and engaged and giving our all to the material in the time that we're here together, that we're generous with our learning and our insights, and if we understand something that someone else is struggling with, that we take the time to really contribute to each other's learning, that we really notice our listening and our curiosity, and that we check our assumptions and stay in a mode of inquiry and ask questions to understand. Don't assume that we know where someone's coming from. That we respect the confidentiality of this program and everything that is shared within it, and that we're knowing how vulnerable online spaces are to misinterpretation, that we're really careful with the communication that we send out, that we kind of check the impact that it will have, and vice versa when we read something, that we're careful about our reactions. We're going to start this week with a check-in. So in a way, I started mine already by introducing myself, but I know that you all know each other, but it's going to be really helpful for me to get a sense of who you are, your name, your organization, and kind of what kind of work you do, where you're going to be applying the learning, as well as to share a little bit about if there's anything that's particularly interesting and exciting for you from this course, if there's any part of you that's hesitating or dreading this course or not wanting to be here in some way, if there's anything that's coming up for you around the group agreements, how are they working so far? How have they impacted you? And anything else you want to share about agreements in general. And I will just say, for me, I've said kind of why I'm excited. I think my hesitation is definitely a little bit of my insecurity around getting to know the technology and just figuring out how learning in an online space in this kind of topic area works. So I think there's a little bit of nervousness on that part in terms of my own hesitation. And then, yeah, just like fitting it into a busy life. And yeah, I think that if, this in a way, we're going to be talking about the importance of dissent. And so it's like to bring my own dissenting voice in. Uh, it's just, it's a different rhythm than I'm used to in my work. And so it's like hoping it's going to be good, but that's a pretty small part. Um, and in terms of the housekeeping, so at the beginning of each week, I'll post a video like this. And I encourage you to watch it as early as possible. I'll be kind of tracking the dynamics of the course and bringing things in and hopefully kind of framing the week up in a good way. Um, uh, if you can go over the material as early as possible in the week, then we can have some rich time in the week for discussions. And later in the week, there'll usually be some kind of activity, which is either will be a reflection or a small group activity. I'm going to have virtual office hours every Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m. Central Time, but I'll be kind of touching in weekly through the forums and email. This first week is the only week in which we're going to have a video conference all together, and we're going to have a World Cafe over Zoom, and that's going to be on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time, and I'll send you the details, and the details are also in the online course Week 1, Assignment 1. As much as possible prior to our call, it would be really helpful if you could watch the video. It's an excellent video by Otto Scharmer called From Ecosystem to Ecosystem Economies. There's also a short video from Derek Sievers called How to Start a Movement. And there's a very brief article from Simon Baker called Just When You Thought Everyone Had Agreed. That's going to be talking a little bit about resistance and how it builds up in society and organizations. And there's some material about the World Cafe. So we're going to be demonstrating a World Cafe. We're going to be experiencing a World Cafe for those of you who haven't experienced online. And then I'll be kind of teaching you a little bit about this as a potentially a large group methodology that I use really often. And it's a very powerful way to kind of get the whole system in the room talking to itself. So you can find all of this information in the introduction section of week 1. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Oh, also, if you check in, you can either do it by video and post it in the check-in section, or you can just do it in a written way. But I'm looking forward to meeting you, and I'm looking forward to working with you. And please reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much. Bye.